All right, what up? This is part 3, football. Um, I think this is my fourth time attempting to record this and do this. Every time I do it, and I'm like, nah, that's not right. That's not quite right. Because it's tough to do. Because it's like I'm basically like, well, if I were America's climate change coach, this is what I would do, right? But the notion, like the premise, is like, well, who says you're America's climate change coach, right? And it's like, okay, and nobody, you know what I mean? But it's imagine or think about what the USA would have to do to be a sustainable country, right? Forget about the whole world for a second and just the US, right? Think about what would have to occur for the US to be sustainable, net zero or whatever. We'd have to do so many things, right? You'd have to pass so many laws and so many policies, like for any variety of things, for a whole slew of things, right? Think about like you would need laws and new policies around energy production. You would need new laws or policies around, how are we going to site the transmission lines and build the transmission lines to get the power? That's crazy complicated. We would need new policies around, transportation. What are we going to do with the trucks? What are we going to do with the planes? Need new laws and policies around farming, new laws and policies around, how are we going to make the cement? How are we going to make the steel? All these different things, right? And really what I'm saying is all those policies that we need in a football sense are like passes. We need so many passes, right? We need hundreds and hundreds of different passes at least, to do it. And I think what I find frustrating is we've put all of our faith into the passes, into the policies, which really are like it's like the state, right? And in the U.S., it's basically like, all right, to solve climate, you need the state, you need to get all these passes, all these policies passed. But like in America, there's also a church, right? Right? Like, yeah, there's a separation of church and state, definitely. But like what's happened in America is like we say, oh no, really, yeah, separation of church and state, but like the church isn't your whack, right? So leave the church alone. And then what's happened is like the church and the whack ideas of the church have infiltrated the state. So the state is this big behemoth, and the church, like little c church, not like any dogma, like little c, like the neighborhoods and the community, right? The power of the community. And if you think about it in a football sense, you can't be a good football team if you're all passing game, no running game, right? And that's kind of what we are in this country right now in terms of the climate. It's like we're all passing. All of our hope is in the passing game. But because we got no running game, like the defense can adapt and clog up all of our passing lanes because they're not kept honest by our running game. And what I'm saying is, if the U.S. is ever going to get to sustainability, we have to establish a running game, and the running game comes from the church, right? Little c church. Let me give you an example. So, currently working on building a firewood shed in my backyard. I cleared out the space. I got the lumber behind me. all I really need is like my big bro to come over and help me. But like we're gonna get it right. And a big reason I want to build the firewood shed is I've been thinking about, my whole shtick here is we should do month of rest, right? Rest from fossil fuels in January. And I've been thinking about, well, how am I going to reduce my fossil fuel use in terms of heating my house in January? Because like I could turn the thermostat down and get everybody to put sweaters on and all that, but like my crew's not going to be cool with like, let's go camping and turn it all the way off, right? So I'm like, how do I reduce it more? And I'm like, well, I know I got an old Kodiak wood burning stove in my house. I can build more fires, right? And the distinction is that, like, I understand that, like, everybody shouldn't be burning firewood, right? Like, if you live in the world of the policies, right? Let's say you're an energy wonk, right? You live in the policy world trying to come up with energy policies. Like, the energy wonks are real good at like the knowledge worker brain of like, hey man, I got an idea. We should do this kind of policy. And the energy wonk's mind is, real quick. Let me shoot this down. I'm gonna shoot it down. I'm gonna poke a hole in it and go doot, 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 doot. Here's why it won't work, right? Here's why you're wrong. Here's why that idea is no good, right? You have a passing mindset. And if you apply that passing mindset to burning firewood to reduce your carbon footprint in January, the passing mind is going to go, that's a terrible idea. If everybody did that, then you'd cut down all the forests, the neighborhoods would be all smoky, that'll never work, right? And I'm saying, I know that burning firewood is not a good pass, but I'm talking about it's a good run. It's something that I can do within my means and my budget to just run a little bit, get a couple steps in, lower my shoulder, get in a little block, right? And what I'm saying is, if everybody did that, right? The whole premise and the reason I'm kind of making videos like I'm in high school trying to get some attention, right? Is I think the idea that everybody should do their part, what really all it's going to take is for like, you do yours, you do yours, you do yours. And that's how we do it, right? Little by little, like, everybody's a raindrop and together we make the waterfall like that. I think that's, as much as I like that, in a movie, like, that's a whack idea if it's constant, if it's all the time, right? Because then climate just becomes one more thing that's always there in the back of your mind. Like, oh yeah, I also gotta watch out for that. I gotta lose some pounds and I gotta worry about the compost. You know what I mean? If it's constant. And what I'm saying is the whole premise of this is what we need to do is isolate that. Isolate everybody's individual moral responsibility to January. And then what that means is all of us are running at the same time. We save up all of our energy. Other 11 months of the year, we don't got to worry about it. But in January, everybody runs together. And if you think about it in a football sense, if everybody got that spurt at the same time and ran it up the middle a little bit, then the U.S. could establish a running game, right? And it's really the premise is everybody, the whole world could do it. But for purposes of the football chapter and like, of course, we're not making any progress in the U.S. All the passing lanes are clogged up, right? The little C, gotta establish a running game, and that'll free up the passing lanes a little bit, and then we can start moving up the field. That's the premise. That's the idea. All right, peace.